Hello, everybody. This is Rabbi Shalom Shai. I want to tell you today a very important subject. The subject is noachides that want to connect and do the 7 commands, the 7 laws of Noah. Well, they want to do it, but they want to see it first in the Bible. So they look the Bible, and they cannot find anywhere that says something about the 7 Noach laws. That's why everybody keep asking, why should I do the 7 Noachide laws? Why shouldn't I do the 10 commands? The 10 commands I can see very clearly in Yitro Parsha, how Hashem gives it to the Jewish nation, and it's very clear. So why not 10 commands? Okay, so let me tell you today the source of the 7 commands of Noah. The 7 commands of Noah is given to the Jewish nation in the Torah by heart, in the oral Torah, which means that we got it in the Torah by heart and we need to move it on to you. The Jewish nation is the light for the nations. And we're supposed to learn, to understand, to study everything, all our 613 commands and all the Torah that we need to know. And part of our Torah is, in the oral Torah, is the 7 commands of Noah. So we need to learn it well and to tell it to you. Now, the clearest way to get those 7 commands are in the Rambam. And the Rambam talks about everything in the Hilchot of the kings and the wars. And he says here that the Jewish nation should tell all the nations about the 7 laws of Noah. And when the time is in a situation that we can force the nation to do that, we are commanded to do that. But in those times that you cannot force nobody, like now, so we need to explain everybody, all the nations, the 7 Noachides, in order to make peace in the world, peace and truth. And that way, the ones that want to accept, they accept, and the other one that doesn't want to accept, they don't accept. It's a free will on the 7 Noachides. But if they don't accept, they're not part of they're not part of the redemption. If they don't accept 7 Noachides, they don't get the next world. They don't get heaven, and they even don't get the redemption that is going to happen here with the Messiah and everything. So in the Rambam here it says about the 6 commands that were commanded to Adam Arishon, to the first man, the 6 first ones. And after that, he tells us that it's a tradition that we got from Sinai, from a generation to generation, to move it on to the all nations. That's what it says here. And also, the 7 commands was given to Noah and his son and his sons, and it's written in the Torah that not to take flesh and eat it from a live animal. We should kill it first and then to eat, not to grab it from a live animal. So, where did this oral Torah came from? So here in the Gemara, I have here in Brachot, it says this. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish is taking a verse from the Torah in Shmot chapter 24, and it says that to Moshe Rabbeinu in Har Sinai that I'm giving you the stones with the Ten Commandments and the Torah, the Bible, and the commands that I wrote for you to tell it, to study it to others. And he explains. The stones are the Ten Commandments. The Torah is the Bible that we have, the Old Testament. And the commands is the Torah by heart, that we got by heart. The oral Torah, which moved from generation to generation until they start to forget to understand it well. So, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi from the Gemara, he was a Tana, and he was the first one that wrote the oral Torah, which is the Mishnah. And it says, Asher Katavti, that I written, it's for all the prophets that came after the Torah. And then to tell it to others by the Gemara, which explains the Mishnah, which are all the Tanaim and Moraim that's written in this Gemara. So, what we understand now, that there is an oral Torah, that the only one that is forbidden to learn this Torah well is the Jewish nation, and also the Bible. The only one that's forbidden to really get into the Bible and understand everything is the Jewish nation. So the only parts that all the other nations can learn and study and understand is the part in the oral Torah that tells about the 7 laws. Now, although there is part in the Torah that rhymes about the 7 noachide laws. Listen carefully to that, because not a lot of people knows that. Back then, in the past, in the areas of the Gemara and the Mishnah and the wise guys, Tanaim Moraim, they knew how to take the rhymes out of the Torah and to explain it. So the Torah says this. In Genesis chapter 2, verses 16, it says that Hashem commanded, Hashem, which is God, commanded on the man to eat from the tree that in the garden. And on this verse there is an explanation how it includes all the 6 commands. And the explanation are in a Midrash Rabbah. That's what it says. And he explain, I will try to translate it to English, which is a little bit hard. First word in this verse is to command, Vaitzav, which means not to worship idols, only Hashem, because you should do only what Hashem commands you, and He commands you to go only after Him. That's the first one. And then it says the name of God, which means that it's the second law, only to bless Hashem, never to curse or to say any bad things about Him. That's why it's the name of God in the second word. And then it says another name of God, which verses into judges, because it's the name of God that judges the world, Elohim. So it means court of justice. And then it says on the man, on the first man. And there is a verse in the Torah, in the Bible, that says that if you spilt the blood of the man, So it talks about not killing. And then there is a word that says le'emor. Le'emor is to say. To say what? To say to your wife this and that. There is a verse in the Torah which means all the forbidden sex. And then it says that you should eat only from the tree I tell you to eat, which means don't steal from another tree. And this is not to steal. So here we see 6 commands, and the 7th one that was given to Noah. So we know that it only rhymes in the Bible, but you cannot actually find it. If you don't know how to understand, to read, and to learn the oral Torah. Anyhow, also, if you look at the 10 commands, you see it's not for all the nations. Why? Because, let's see. In the 10 commands, it says this. We are talking about a lot of nations that have different cultures and different ways. And Hashem needs to tell commands to all nations with all the types that it will be exactly for them. So the first one is, I am God that took you out of Egypt from slave from slavery. And if we try to understand that, who got out of Egypt? Out of Egypt, only the Jewish nation got out, with some Egyptian that wanted to be Jewish. They all, after 40 years, ended up in the mountain of Sinai and got the Torah, got the Bible, which means they are all Jewish. And which means that the Ten Commandments is only for Jewish people, because in that time there were a lot of other nations like Ammon and Moab and Sichon and uh, and Canaan and all others. So, which means that this is only for the Jewish nation. That was the first command. And then, if you look about observing Shabbos command, you need to remember the Shabbos day, which means to remember and to observe it. So, in this Torah, in this Bible, you can see that to observe Shabbos means a lot. It's like there is hundred of details which comes out of 30, we can say 40 less one commands that are spread to a lot of details how to observe Shabbos, which means that it's not for all nations, because all nations cannot keep that. It's so much about observing Shabbos. So when you just take a small brief at those commands, you can see that most of them are not equal to all nations. So bottom line, I want to tell you all guys that if you want to be connected and to keep the peace in the world, and also to keep the truth, and to get the next world and the redemption day, and you want to be part of it, the only way to be part of it is to keep the 7 Noachide's laws. Otherwise, you are out of the game. I'm sorry I'm saying it like that. It sounds like a little rude or something, but this is what's in the true Torah. So I wish for all of us that we will all be connected to our Creator, Jewish nation with the 613 commands, all the other nation from the light that comes out of the Jewish nation to everybody with the 7 laws, which there is a lot to learn even about spiritual things, how Hashem is one, and how we spread all the world and everything, which there is a lot to learn. So I wish you all to be connected, to learn, and to get all the benefits out of it, and together, we do our last job in the world to bring Mashiach, the redemption, right away. יחי אדוננו מורנו ורבנו מלך המשיח לעולם ועד.